Hello there guys, this is Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space, and today I'm coming at you with my June wrap-up and my July TBR. Today is June 24th, but I wanted to get started on this wrap-up early because it's also my TBR. So let's start off with my sort of awkward wrap-up where I haven't actually finished anything this month. I actually tend to read a lot of books at once, particularly when I'm trying to join read-alongs, which I'm a part of several. So I've made progress in all three of these actually, but let's talk about The Way of Kings first because I'm doing Stormalong 2020 with 3 of my friends and it has been a blast and I've made so many new friends through this. If you want to join along with Stormalong 2020, it's definitely not too late. You've got 5 months left. Our next live show will be on July 3rd. At 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time, and we'll be reading up through chapter 33 of Way of Kings. We're reading about 25% of the book before every live show discussion, and we meet just about every 2 weeks. There's a couple weeks in there that will change, and it won't be every 2 weeks. But we'll be having the live shows here on my channel. I will link the first one up here for you. We have so many great fans reading along with us and discussing, and even if you read it like a year ago and you just want to come for the fun discussions, you totally should, because there's a lot of people along for the ride in that sense as well. If you want to join even more discussion, we have a Facebook group as well, and there's constantly things going on in there and it's just a blast. I'm also reading the White Lotus Sutra, and I'm sorry, I literally am using another book as a bookmark.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm on chapter 3 and I'm reading this with Noah from Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse, and I'm going a lot slower than I wanted to, but honestly, I'm pretty excited. I'm getting to the portion now in chapter 3 where it's supposed to actually be a parable. I mean, it's like titled A Parable, which is exciting because the first 2 chapters, I had to look up so many vocabulary words. There was just so much I didn't understand about Buddhism, and I think that's partly why it took me so long to get through them. And man, I have just been total social media brain lately. Definitely gonna keep this as my priority alongside Stormalong 2020 in the coming month of July. And if you want to join that, we are on Voxer and we're having a blast. Noah's putting out all kinds of videos about Buddhism and about the Lotus Sutra, and he also does introductions to each chapter in the Voxer group. I am also reading Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan, and I'm using another book as a bookmark.
My life is crazy.
I'm on chapter 8 of this one, and this one has been great for me along with The Way of Kings. I've just been reading them when I'm so dead tired after writing for a couple hours every night because I'm also trying to write again. This one is fun. Promise of Blood. It reminds me very much of Revolutionary France, and I have a feeling that's what the author was going for. I don't really understand the magic system at all yet, but I'm enjoying the characters. We're following this guy who is basically taking over the throne and killing the age of, oh, you can't see it. I think it says the Age of Kings is dead. Definitely a good just sit down and chill kind of read. I'm also listening to Foundation by Isaac Asimov with my writing group, and I just like do check-ins on the ebook once in a while to make sure I'm keeping the names straight and getting the concepts right. It's also free on the Internet Archive, so that was helpful before I could get the books from the library. I really love how there's all these political machinations going on, and there's been lots of revelations, and I feel like the characterization isn't really there, but the futuristic far future elements are pretty fun. I hope I'll have more to say once I finish it, but you know, I am reading it on audiobook, so I'm not being like super ridiculously analytical. I did post a quote from this on my Instagram, and I'll include it right here. And I'm over 20% through Miracles by Eric Metaxas, which I am reading with my mother and father and husband. I've already read this. I read it in April, and I'm rereading it with my family because I really liked the part 2 and beyond part of this book, which are all about miracles that people have experienced in the modern day. Part 1 is more about miracles in the past and in the Bible and apologetics, like our life is a miracle, that kind of stuff. It's okay. This is like a real easy way of digesting some of that information, kind of like a primer. However, we did just read chapter 6 together, and that deals with some really heavy-hitting topics, which I appreciated. It could have dug in deeper. However, he admits that we don't really have a lot of answers to the question of, say, why God will meet one situation with a miracle and not a person in a different situation. Like Joni Eareckson Tada is the example that was used throughout this chapter. She's a quadriplegic and has been since she had a diving accident when she was 17. And so many people have prayed for her, and she has not been healed. I read another book by her, and I really enjoyed that. I'll put it here for you. We're about 20% of the way through that book. I'm also reading the 3 novels of my writing critique partners. I actually haven't started the 3rd one yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. I really am enjoying the 2 that I have started. I'm 10 chapters into one, and I don't know how many chapters into the other one. I'm really excited to have found these writing partners. They're just super cool. All those books that I haven't finished yet are going to be my priority in July, of course. And I'm hoping before the end of this month that I can read the story Moo Moo by somebody or other, Turgenev, I think. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyways, that's along with the Codex Cantina. By the way, they did post their video that I mentioned in my last TBR and wrap-up about the shot, and it was great. So if you want to check that out, go head on over to the Codex Cantina and you'll see it. So for July, there's so many things that I wish I could be doing. However, my time is going to be taken up by the books that I am still finishing. There are 2 books that I could get to on audiobook for some reading challenges that are going on. So the first is Mr. Harrison's Confessions for a buddy read with Kate Howe. She also has her Read Along Most Victorian book, which is a book of short stories by Elizabeth Gaskell. And I'm gonna have to choose between the 2 of them. I just cannot do them both. And I'm leaning towards Mr. Harrison's Confessions because it's a novella, so it's one thing that I can just like maybe sit down and read through in a day or 2 like I did with Lady Susan, which was just a really refreshing experience for me to sit down and read something all in one day. There is also Jane Austen July going on, and this is put on by Katie from Books and Things and Marissa from Blatantly Bookish, which is a really cute name. So of course I just subscribed to Marissa, who I didn't actually know about before. Of course I knew about Katie. Who doesn't know about Katie? And I'm going to try and listen to Northanger Abbey with like ebook check-ins like I'm doing with Foundation, because this is the last Jane Austen book that I need to read before I can say, yes, I've read all Jane Austen's novels. Thank you very much. And yes, Mansfield Park is my favorite. I can't actually say that Mansfield Park is my favorite until I've read Northanger Abbey. And I do, of course, hope that Northanger Abbey is even better than Mansfield Park, but I just kind of doubt that could possibly be, because Fanny is just, I have no words for Fanny other than favorite heroine ever. I read that when I was a teenager, and it was so inspiring to me that Fanny was just so strong when everybody around her was telling her that she was wrong, but she did what she knew was right anyway, and I just love that. So that is the first challenge for Jane Austen in July, which is to read one of the novels of Jane Austen. And then I'm going to skip about 4 challenges in the middle there to get down to challenges 6 and 7, because 6 is to watch a direct adaptation of a Jane Austen movie, and Marissa recommended an adaptation of Northanger Abbey from 2007. I'm gonna definitely try and get a hold of that and watch that. And also challenge 7, which is to watch a modern adaptation or retelling. So I'm gonna be doing the Lizzie Bennet Diaries for that one, because I started those a long time ago and they were pretty funny. So I'd like to watch more of those, or maybe finish them if I can. So that's my Jane Austen in July. The other thing that I'm pretty excited about this month, and we'll see how much of this I can get to, it'll probably be short chunks, but that's okay. The Cohosts WOR Reading Challenge is being put on by Knox Reads and Natalia Martinez. And I think the whole goal of this reading challenge is to read a Latinx author in 2020. And I don't know why nobody's talking about this readathon. I think that's such a fantastic idea. The challenge for July is to read an Afro-Latinx author, which I'd love to do that. The one that I had picked out is called Mama's Girl by Veronica Chambers. I really wanted to read that one. It sounds so good. However, I'm not going to be able to get a copy, most likely, because it's in a library that is currently out of my area and we can't order books from other libraries right now. Instead, I'm probably going to be reading Women Warriors of the Afro-Latina Diaspora, which is available on Hoopla through my library. And I already downloaded it, and it looks like I can listen to this one on my iPad and just like, you know how you can drag the screen down and have your iPad play audiobooks too, or like web screens? I just love that feature. I've been using that like insanely much lately. Here's my Hoopla audiobook. I'm pretty excited about this. It looks like there's a lot of short chunks and sections in the book, so I'm just gonna get as far as I can. I don't anticipate being able to read too much of this because I already have a lot going on, but I definitely wanted to devote some of my month to reading an Afro-Latinx author. And thank you so much to Seiji from The Artisan Geek for pointing out this reading challenge to me, because I didn't know about it. And of course, I would love to read some stories from the Codex Cantina and whichever one Brian of Bookish chooses. We'll see. I will try and read that along with him because he always puts the free version in his video, and so does the Codex Cantina. So no promises about what I'm actually going to get to this month, except for Storm Along and the Threefold Lotus Sutra and my writing friends. Oh, and Promise of Blood. Why am I even making a TBR? I totally just remembered it this later the same day that I filmed. I think the 24th? Tomorrow's my 9-year anniversary with Kev. Anyways, I totally forgot to mention I'm reading The Vile Village with Danny from Spinelli Speaks in July, and I'm just super stoked to read with her. I'm just getting to know her better. Danny is so great. So I'm really excited to read The Vile Village. That is book number 7 in the series of Unfortunate Events, which is a hilarious series. We both love it. I think it's gonna be great. We just went out to celebrate Father's Day with my dad and my mom, which this is one of the first times we've gotten together since the whole COVID thing started. I think we had one other get together. So it's really exciting to be seeing them again. And the food was awful. The place, it's near our house, right on the lake, and it's beautiful, but they got new ownership and their food is gross now. But it doesn't even matter because we just enjoyed hanging out with my dad, who is awesome. Happy Father's Day, Dad. I love you. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to hear about what you're planning to read this month. What things are you taking part in? Please let me know down below in the comments. And also like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon if you want to be notified anytime I make a new video. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.